Maya is my name. My coworker Max, who is 3 years older than I am, and I have dated. We also recently tied the knot. As newlyweds, we are leading contented lives. When we first started dating, Max was really nice and dependable. However, as time passed, he began to display his adorable and cuddly side. I wanted you to think I was older, so I played the tough, cool guy. I admired his reluctant admission of emotion. It was an easy life, but I am concerned about one thing. It's my mother-in-law there. My mother-in-law has been really troubling Max and me for the past 3 weeks. His mother reared him as his parents are no longer together. After overcoming so much adversity, she must have great love for him. Even other relatives gossiped about how much my mother-in-law loved her son. She is currently living alone at her parents' home. She most likely longs for her son. She started coming over to our house more often. Greetings for the evening. Max, I prepared your favorite dish today. Together, let's consume it. Upon entering our home, my mother-in-law would enter without even looking at me. Max initially answered in a suitable way, but lately he has begun to display his displeasure. I told you to give me a heads up when you're coming, Mom. It's not required of you to visit every day. Maya prepares meals for me. We have only been living together for 3 months. You might exercise a little more consideration. Although he warns her and says this, my mother-in-law is not the kind of person who would find this upsetting. I really do care about you, and this is my son's residence. I left to bring you your favorite meal because of this. Maya's meal probably doesn't contain enough nutrients for you either. In addition, you do enjoy my meals, don't you? A young woman who can't cook to your taste probably can't even take care of the chores. I'm producing it for you because of this. My mother-in-law appears to be sneering at me while she says this. From the moment she welcomed me at our wedding, I could smell a hint of malice. However, following our union, she was overtly antagonistic. I knew she was teasing me, but she's still Max's mom. I would like not to exacerbate the connection anymore, if at all possible. Max's greatest affection is for me. The person who knows Max the best is myself. It seemed like my mother-in-law thought highly of herself. She also seems to believe that Max is putting pressure on himself to consume the meal I prepared. There have been previous occasions when my mother-in-law has delivered meals. Day by day, she has been bringing us an increasing number of dishes. She is also bringing more and more elaborate stuff, which may be an attempt to depress me. Max, stew meat for today. For this, I produced my own homemade beef stock. Isn't that incredible? You will become bored if all you have to make is food that takes a few minutes to prepare because it will all taste the same. Max looked at me and said nothing, alerting my mother-in-law. You've never had Maya's meal, Mom. What the hell is wrong with your conversation? Express your regrets to her. You know, Maya's meal tastes really amazing. Max's mother did not appear to bat an eyelid, not even in moments of rage. Rather, she simply chuckled and gave Max a shoulder pat. My gosh, what a mess. You don't need to tell her such lies to keep her safe. Isn't that how kind you are? I'm so happy for you. My mother-in-law went on without slowing down. Indeed, how's the planning for the honeymoon going? We are yet to embark on our honeymoon, despite the fact that we were married 3 months ago. Since Max and I share the same off-season, we had intended to go on a leisurely journey and enjoy a long holiday. But I saw the light go out in my mother-in-law's eyes. A trip to Europe would be nice. Delightful cuisine and stunning cities. There are also lots of places to see. How would you respond? Hawaii is a great place as well, albeit quite typical. Going to a gorgeous beach and relaxing for a while, where else? I ended the chat since it sounded like she wanted to go on. Indeed, we are considering our options, so we will keep your recommendations in mind. My mother-in-law gave me a mean glare, indicating that she didn't enjoy that. Have a suggestion in mind? With me, you cannot make a decision on this. We are traveling together, the 3 of us. How come? I give Max a startled glance. 3 people traveling together. Could it be that she intends to accompany us on our honeymoon? Until now, she had said nothing about the trip. Fjord, like me, was equally unable to contain his surprise. What do you mean when you say a trip for the 3 of us, Mum? We are on our honeymoon right now. It will be just the 2 of us, of course. Max spoke with a hint of frustration and rage. However, his mother ignored him and went on. Oh? Is there a law that prohibits mothers from traveling with their children on their honeymoon? It's all right. We are traveling together, the 3 of us. As a family, let's enjoy ourselves together. After that, Max made numerous attempts to convince her, but she remained unconvinced. I'm going to go today, but don't choose the time and place of departure without my consent. Please remember to consume the stew. I have thoughts too. She then walked away. Max's face was scarlet by now. Maya, I apologize. I'll persuade my mom. We should go on our honeymoon together, just the two of us. Don't hate me, please. Max immediately apologized profusely once my mother-in-law departed. Naturally, I answered with confidence, I will never hate you. My affection for Max remained unchanged despite my mother-in-law's character. This is the kind of behavior she has displayed towards her son. Actually, her daughter and other family members had previously warned her. Mothers would never take their sons on a honeymoon. It is an experience of a lifetime. Let them leave on their own. Specifically, my sister-in-law reprimanded my mother-in-law right away. However, my mother-in-law gave her absolutely no attention. Having a mother like that is quite problematic. She's going to follow you for real if you don't tell her no. Max's shoulders fell in desperation when his sister sent him a message. A week later, my mother-in-law dropped by our house once more. She spoke with more authority than usual this time. Although everyone says it's odd, there are really more cases than you may imagine, according to my research. I'm not incorrect. Parents go with their kids on their honeymoon. Yes, what's the issue if I accompany my son on his honeymoon? Without a doubt, I'm going with you now. I've told you this a lot. Max answered, I'm taking Maya on a honeymoon. This is not a trip I intend to take you on. Perhaps a few parents will accompany us, but you're doing that with the child's consent, right? You don't have my consent. Simply give up. However, she is not the type of lady to give up on something like that. That you would say such a thing astounds me. You have never previously disregarded me. After you married Maya, you discovered how to celebrate. I opposed this marriage for this reason. Sincerely, I wondered why I was being told this now. Somehow, my mother-in-law had been enraged with me. Maya, Max became the person he is today because of you. How are you going to own up to this? If I accompany my son, he will be happier. Bring me along on your honeymoon. After that, I promised to forgive you for everything. I felt like giving up when I saw my mother-in-law standing with her arms crossed in a dignified manner. I had always been determined not to make things worse, no matter what she said, that I was at my breaking point. I'm going to give her some advice. Even though I was experiencing a lot of negative emotions, I managed to smile at my mother-in-law. Please, let's go on this trip together so that I can continue to be married to Max. Max paled at my response and became frightened. Maya, give it a moment. I am unable to. I laughed and started mentally formulating preparations, but don't worry, you will see. Unaware of my motives, my mother-in-law replied cheerfully, Oh, you're not as judgmental as I had anticipated. You ought to have followed my advice right away. Since it's your honeymoon, I'll let you choose the destination. When you're done, give me a call. My mother-in-law then departed the house. The three of us were actually embarking on our honeymoon a few months later. It was a well-known beach resort as the destination. Everything about the trip, from my attire to my demeanor, was planned. I did everything I could to fully cater to Max's preferences. We headed straight to the beach from the hotel after leaving our bags there. We went to a lovely restaurant for dinner after a full day of pleasure. Max spoke timidly while we were all savoring the meal that was being presented to us one after the other. It could be that we were on our honeymoon, but you seem more beautiful than normal. I smiled broadly in response. Max, thank you. Being on my honeymoon with you makes me really happy. Max then looked at me quite seriously. I'm so glad we got married. I'm excited about our future together. As for our future, I'm excited about it too. Max was in a good mood, as evidenced by his kinder than usual remarks to me. Not that he didn't care for his mother. I could only see Max, yet it seemed like he was only seeing me. This was obviously a planned attempt to make me appear more attractive than I usually am. A very adorable outfit and a hibiscus earring. I tried to set Max's mood by speaking in a sweeter tone of voice than I typically do. Hey, KK, my mother-in-law was alone and unable to enter our world. She started criticizing me because she couldn't tolerate it. Is this restaurant really so bad? Max, you don't like this kind of food. Furthermore, Maya, you don't actually know anything about Max, do you? I would have gone to the eatery on the other side of the street if I could have. Max then gave his mother a glare. Why didn't you just go to that restaurant if that's how you feel? Saying something like that is inconsiderate to Maya and this restaurant. The dish tastes good, in my opinion, and I'm incredibly appreciative that she picked this particular eatery so I may enjoy my favorite shrimp. Thank you so much for that. Max's thick, deep voice made my mother-in-law wince for a brief second. However, she turned to face me and resumed her conversation. Shrimp is not served in any restaurant. In addition, what was the schedule for today? Just eating and visiting the beach? We've traveled a great distance to get here. We may have taken this action in the vicinity of our home. Then why don't you return home? With no hesitation, Max said, You were invited and all of the planning was done by her. What voice tone was that? To begin with, I didn't want you to come. Why don't you simply go home if you're going to be a stinker throughout our honeymoon? You were not invited. My mother-in-law stared down, unable to find the right words. After dining at the restaurant, we made our way to our accommodations. Max wrapped his arm around my waist and remained steadfastly by my side the entire time. Every time my mother-in-law tried to talk to Max, she was met with an icy dismissal. She soon started putting distance between us. Indeed, that was my aim. Through this honeymoon, I wanted to demonstrate how much Max thought of me and how different we are from one another. I knew from the start that Max loved me and that I could defeat my mother-in-law, so I had no intention of tricking her. There was a chance that my mother-in-law would not concede a point if I had tricked her. I wanted to demonstrate to her how much we loved one another and that there would be no way for her to argue against it. Between the two of them, there is no room for me. If this was what my mother-in-law believed, then my strategy worked. We were able to fully enjoy our honeymoon the next day. My mother-in-law's shouting and suggestion that she go explore on her own were the cause. Despite her obvious yelling attitude, Max let her go it alone. She appeared to have been affected by this as well, because she didn't say anything until the very final day. But the tragedy went on from there. After we got back from our trip, my mother-in-law started talking badly about me to my sister-in-law. It was awful. She treated me like I was invisible and made overtures towards Max in a sexual manner. She is such a sharp lady. I should never have allowed her to wed my son. She must have assumed that she would sympathize with her and keep telling her how correct she was. Max is likewise incredibly enamored with that woman. Despite the fact that it was a ruse involving his mother, he has no regard for me at all. I mean, I'm the one who matters, right? Surely the mother needs to come first? Naturally, my sister-in-law dismissed the viewpoint of my mother-in-law. What topic are you discussing? They each get to keep the harem. It makes perfect sense that you would be excluded. It is correct that the mother has to be taken care of. However, I would also be opposed to going on my honeymoon with my mom. Or are you implying that I'm incorrect? You still believe you are correct, though. I find you unbelievable. You're crazy. That my own mother is like this makes me feel so embarrassed. My sister-in-law seemed to have disregarded my mother-in-law ever since. Furthermore, it appears that my sister-in-law has told all of the relatives about this tale. Following this, my mother-in-law's family did not take her seriously, and she was forced to lead an isolated existence. I apologize. May I ask for your forgiveness? Nader can stay too. I don't mind at all. Are you moving in with me? Max received a message from my mother-in-law when she was unable to handle her loneliness. But Max never answered, saying, I don't mind if Nader stays too, because he didn't agree with his mother's wording. It has been a year since our honeymoon. It has been a while since my mother-in-law has stopped by our home. But Max and I have been free to develop our love without any outside interference. In 6 months, we will welcome a new family member. On weekends, we both enjoy going shopping for baby stuff. With the exception of my mother-in-law, I'm looking forward to having a joyful and tranquil life with my family of 3.